what would you add from the safety point of view?
Safety is for automation. Critical tests, which is what safety is, that is the job of automation. And what I think most people don't understand is if you're doing it by hand, you've introduced risks of being less safe. And what humans are supposed to do is program and maintain robots. Safety means automation, and that makes it fast.
Bienvenue dans notre série sur l'agilité en dehors de l'informatique. Dans cette vidéo, nous allons regarder comment l'agilité et Scrum peuvent être appliqués dans le monde de la construction automobile. Et on va même partir un peu vers les étoiles. Vous êtes sur Scrum Life, la première chaîne francophone dédiée à l'état d'esprit agile.
Nous recevons dans cette vidéo Joe Justice qui va justement nous partager son expérience chez Tesla et chez SpaceX. Donc pour nous, Scrum Life, c'est un moment un peu historique puisque ça va être la première interview en anglais. Et c'est pour ça que depuis le début de la vidéo, vous avez des sous-titres en anglais pour que la vidéo soit intégralement bilingue.
I'm Joe Justice. I was a software developer at Microsoft. I worked with Bill Gates for a little while at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, using Agile methods for social good projects. I am a Scrum trainer, and I've worked in Tesla and with Toyota and a lot of automotive companies, and been part of the SpaceX ecosystem. And I'm really excited to share what I'm learning by doing on how to have businesses move really quickly, like the Musk companies. And what I hope to continue adding to this is how to make it really fun and sustainable for many different kinds of people. So people all over the world can, I hope, move as fast or even faster than the Musk companies do now in a way where they feel really good and healthy about their lives. I dream of this.
Why did you feel the need to apply Agile in the automotive field? What was your story in short?
In the beginning, I did not know another method than Agile. So when I entered automotive, it was the only method I knew to enter automotive. But also, it's now I'm more aware, no other method has new product release quickly enough. So my strategy entering automotive was to change the product as fast as I could, at least once a week if I could. Now I realize no other project management method supports that. So the speed of new product introduction is the driver. And I'd say that's still true.
Many people don't even think that Agile is possible outside of IT. How would you comment that? Can you share your experience with us and how did you do it?
Using examples of companies that do it is maybe the best evidence. So all of the Musk companies have very fast new product introduction. And I will say that's related to what we're talking about when we talk about Agile. So SpaceX does it in rockets and in services. They are a services company putting kilograms into orbit. So they are a services example, and they're an engineering example, and they acquire new land. So they're actually a land and infrastructure and factory building example, and they're a mass employers, tens of thousands of employees. They're also a highly regulated example. Their flights have to be approved by the government. So they're a government interaction example. And they now have multiple launches every week, and they change what those payloads are and those rockets as short as 1 hour before launch. So they're incredibly agile. And that's in a government-approved example. So it checks a lot of boxes of where agility is possible. Then Tesla also, they're beginning manufacturing in Germany soon. So that's Europe. That's an example of hardware in Europe. Also, they have safety approvals required. Also, they have tens of thousands of employees. Also, they're multinational. They manufacture in the United States and China, and soon Europe. And we think soon India as well. But already China and the United States. So they're global. They have global supply chain. So if anyone says, I can't do Agile, my suppliers are global, or my suppliers are too slow, Tesla and SpaceX show, yes, you can. Then medical companies. Well, Neuralink. Neuralink is telecommunications, so that's everything a cell phone company would have, everything a laptop company would have. And it's a medical device inside a human. So now you have all of the medical approvals. And still, they're on very short new product introduction cycles. So Neuralink shows that as well. Then pure play software. Some software companies still say we can't be agile. Our product is too complicated or cutting edge or whatever. Well, OpenAI is as complicated as software gets. And it's as large compute as software gets. It's some of the largest compute software ever done by humans. And it's full agile. It's very fast new product introduction cycles. So you have a software example as well. Then the boring company is infrastructure. That's tunnels, that's high-speed transit, and they also are attempting to work globally. And they have city planning approvals, government approvals, all those reasons people say we can't be agile. And they are. So there's that example as well. I would say using examples is maybe the best way to respond to that question. And there are other successful companies too, including in France. But the Musk companies are a very aspirational example, and they're very real. When I was working in Tesla, if I needed to spend money for the company, everyone can. Everyone is empowered. I don't need approvals. But if I wanted to talk to other people to say, is this really a good idea? They're right there. I just ask them. I never have to make a report. I never have to make a presentation. And that's part of what makes this so fast. And Elon, if I wanted to talk to Elon, I can. Elon's right there all day and all night. And doing the same job. Elon's not like in an office. There's no offices. Elon's like working with robots. I mean, like a line employee. Elon works the line. So I don't have to explain why we need X. I just say, I think we need X. And other people either agree or not because they have the same information as me. And this is, I think, the issue. You either need executives who work the line, like Tesla does and SpaceX does. No one doesn't work the line, period. There's no desk jobs. Or you make the line so luxurious that executives work the line. So Tesla only tolerates executives. I mean, they don't even really have executives. They only tolerate anyone who works the line. I'm now interested in what would happen if Hermes Paris designed a manufacturing line. I'm very interested in this. And I'm very interested in if Bulgari made the bathrooms for the line employees so that the executives, it's actually nicer for them to work the line. This is now my new idea, luxurious agility for everyone. I would like to collaborate to make this come more true. But until everyone works the product, you don't have a company as fast as the Musk companies. So Peugeot, Renault will need to transform what they believe management means. And in French company culture, this, I believe, is really difficult because you work really hard to get an office. And then you work really hard to get a corner office. And there are no offices in a company that's this fast. It delays the feedback loop. It's too slow. So how do you make people want to give up their office? And either you fire everyone, and you could do that. That does work. Or you make outside the office nicer than the office so people don't want to come to their office. And this is an experiment I wish to run. I would love to run this in France. So if anyone is interested in doing this together, let's all have a conversation somewhere public, maybe Twitter, something, and try to experiment.
Yeah, I see what you mean. In France, it's not easy to fire someone, even if he does a very crappy job.
It kind of resonates with my experience, or at least my way of thinking. I mean, like, yeah, I never understood why not everyone had an office. Or the other way, why the boss is not in the open space with everyone, and which is actually where the stuff happens. It should be it actually is the most interesting place, but yeah, it's a status. You have your desk and so on, and of course you have the bigger salary and all that comes with it. And it's even at a closer gap, it's mostly having a leader attitude, just showing the way, being supportive, giving the means, and this is one of the fight we do.
If Musk only set the goal, the Tesla companies, the Musk companies wouldn't be as fast as they are. I believe it's truly that Musk does the work directly. And I think if anyone doesn't directly do the work, the company will be slower. So if a company is looking for a faster pace of new product development and new product introduction, the Musk company's example would be there's no one that doesn't actually engineer the product, period. And if there's anyone whose job is only to set the goal or show the way, the company will be slower. And that's what I think is the next tier of Agile, the next level of Agile, whatever we call it, is a company where there are no roles that aren't direct product work, period. And many Agile methods or frameworks bring us towards that. But I don't think any of them are that yet. I think the Musk companies are past that. And I do think that's the future of work if you're interested in a quicker pace of innovation and product launch. If any decision takes more than an hour at Tesla, there's an immediate swarm of everyone on why that decision possibly takes more than an hour. In fact, that's archaic. It's actually more like if it takes longer than 90 seconds. And that's the difference between the speed of companies around the world. I don't want people to lose their job. I want people to have comfortable, safe, lovely, maybe even exciting employment.
Yes, and that's it. It's that in many companies that are like this, people are not happy. They are not happy of the situation, of the hierarchy and everything. Even in the high levels, they are not happy. They know that it's not the good way to do. Just they don't know any other way. You told us that you didn't know any other way than the Agile way, but for a lot of people in companies, they don't know anything else. That waterfall or whatever you call it. What are the outcomes you witness? What really change when in this kind of company where you can bring and deliver faster?
It is the most fun I've ever had at work. It is absolutely the most stimulating, exciting, and fun I have ever had at work. This is immediately visible, and it's a physical change. Your posture is different, your eyes are different, and it's everything else feels slow motion or even dead by comparison. And I would never want to work a different way. It's actually disgusting to me to see the slowness and lack of engagement, I'll even say passion, that people think is normal. It's so depressing to think. It's like looking at a bad science fiction movie of a horrible future where people live an awful life, and everything looks this way by comparison. So it's almost ethical. It's at least artistic. It's at least artistic to try to bring this life back into where people spend so much of their time, their entire lives. But it might even be ethical. It might be actually a crime against humans and the gift of life to allow work to continue in the way it is conducted in so many groups, where innovation is systematically wrecked and passion is systematically put to sleep.
Do you have an example of what change in how teams are working?
Maybe I'll try. Let's see if this matches. A client of mine recently realized that they were not taking any of their vacation. They had accrued vacation time, and they were not using any of it. And the group conducted a retrospective. Why? Why are we not taking our vacation? It would be more healthy. Why are we not doing this? And they realized they were having so much fun collaborating to finish the product that they worried if they weren't present, it would slow down the team activity. And what they decided to do is that they would all take vacation on the same day. So they started with one day, Friday. Everyone in the team would take Friday off. They were so happy that they got more done that week than they did weeks where they worked the whole week. So actually the business got more high value, high quality product, and the team worked one day less. And they came back and they were more rested and creative. So maybe this is an example where the team focused on what made them happy in how they made ideas come together, and actually got more done when they spent less time at work.
You know, just that a team that wants and have the idea to reflect on why we don't take vacations is already a great step. It's already a great step. So you already mentioned something like that earlier about how you manage everything about regulation and security. Tell us more about that, because it's, like you said before, it's really something that people say that we cannot do more agile because, or we cannot be more agile because regulations and whatever.
I will try to use a European example. Unfortunately, it's not France, it's Germany, but also many regulations. Building Gigafactory Berlin, which is one of the largest manufacturing facilities ever on planet Earth. So massive. And the bureaucracy to build a massive manufacturing facility in Europe there's a lot. So how does an agile company do it? Because the company, that facility is very far along. It's moving at a faster pace than any construction has ever occurred in Europe in recent times. So how is that possible with all of the same bureaucracy? Elon goes to the bottleneck, right? Wherever the bottleneck is to highest speed of introduction. And right now, that's Giga Berlin. So Elon sleeps on his Tesla nights in Giga Berlin in a sleeping bag. And what Elon does during the day is the primary block is the bureaucracy. That's the slowest point. So Elon directly applies for the permits. That's what Elon does. Does not delegate that because it's the primary bottleneck. And now there's a team with Elon to do it with Elon, but that is what Elon does on his Tesla days. He's applying for permits and in the government offices directly. And he will be physically present in the offices applying in person every day. Now, the other aspect is there are what are called preliminary permits. And what companies all around the world do is they wait until the risk is very low. So they wait until permits are approved to start construction. Well, it is actually allowed to start building before your permit is approved. But if your permit is not approved, you might have to remove your building. Well, that's an acceptable risk for Elon. Elon started building the same day the land sale closed. And Elon has a chain of what are called conditional permits. And yes, if they fail, Giga Berlin would have to be cleared and the trees replanted. That is an acceptable risk to Elon. And in 90 days, the majority of that factory was already foundationally constructed. And every other company wouldn't have even started yet. And so one is a complete intolerance for slowness. If we are allowed to act, we will act. Not is it low risk. Are we allowed to act? We will act. Is someone physically stopping us from acting? And these regulations, a lot of the executives are frankly just we would say in English, chicken. They're just weak. And if you have someone who actually wants to work, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. You could wait, and it would be lower risk to wait. But if you actually wanted to succeed, you could begin. So regulations often don't prevent us from acting. So that's step one. And then step two is your highest action, your most capable team does what is the bottleneck. So Elon applies for permits. Elon sleeps in the factory. And if someone is going to come say, you can't build today, this construction can't be there, Elon is talking to that person to say, please explain to me why. And as a result, construction is seldom stopped. And this level of commitment from the executive team is not present in most other companies, which is what's required to overcome bureaucracy. And then working directly with the lawmakers to help address bureaucracy is not being passionately undertaken by most executives either. I believe, well, one, it's totally possible. It's happening now. And two, it could be scaled and repeated. Any company in all of Europe or all of the world could do this, but they would need passion and comfort with risk. And that's really all they would need. And to put their own time on it.
And maybe there is one more thing that executive needs to stop just watching how they work and waiting for reports and everything like that, and let them work so they can focus on things that have more value.
I think should maybe talk about the safety side, because that's also, it's not just that you can't do it, it's also very important to follow safety. And so what would you add from the safety point of view?
Safety is for automation, and automation has no time dependency or little time dependency. So safety critical operations, what we've learned from DevOps, what we've learned from software, what we've learned from Agilists since 2001 at least, is critical tests, which is what safety is. That is the job of automation. And what I think most people don't understand is if you're doing it by hand, you've introduced risks of being less safe. And what humans are supposed to do is program and maintain robots. In software, we call that scripts. In hardware, we use actual physical industrial robots. And that's what safety means. Safety means it's automated. And it's super safe to work on a tablet or your phone or even a laptop to configure and reconfigure a robot that's safety aware or inside a cage. That's super safe. And that's what safety means. Safety means automation, and that makes it fast. Safety does not mean a human does it and another human checks, and another human checks that standardized procedure, and then a committee reviews the standardized procedures. That's actually very poor safety anyway. And that's also slow. Safety means a robot is doing it.
That's a powerful way to say it. Safety must be made by robot, must be automated. It's very powerful.
It reminds me also, I think it's already a discussion I had with Constantin about how companies, of course my examples are from the software landscape, but how do we help companies move from traditional quality to built-in quality? Or I put it another way, say, how do they maintain quality while moving from months or years-long cycles to weeks or even days-long cycles? And they have to move to built-in quality. They have to make sure they do not introduce problems instead of checking problems and fixing problems afterwards. So I feel like it's the same thing, even if it's not in software. It's how do you work differently? How do you manage? How do you design the way you work to integrate the safety requirements right in? You build in them. It's one of the common things that are said, that you can't change You can work differently because our clients, our customers, our partners are used to work that way, and they will never accept to work differently. So do you have some examples of how this contract part have been managed, can be done with those various partners, clients, and customers?
Contracts, of course, as you both just said, shape how agile our company can be. So let's look at some agile contracts from companies like Tesla, like SpaceX, like OpenAI, like the Neuralink. And I will say I teach a course called a Certified Scrum Product Owner course. And I think it's different than anyone else's Scrum course on the planet. What that course is, the way I teach it, is how to do agile contracts if you're going to go work at Tesla or SpaceX or OpenAI or the Neuralink, and how to do budgeting. And if someone said, I'm going to go join a Musk company, what do I need to know to write contracts and participate in budgeting? That's what this course is. And I think that's different than anyone else's product owner course. So even if you already have a certified Scrum product owner credential, I would recommend my course for budgeting and contracting. And here's how it works. When SpaceX signs a contract to put something into orbit, they give a series of launch windows and contingencies. And as a result, they say, we commit to put your product into orbit with X% confidence. It's not 100%. No company. SpaceX actually has fewer failures than anyone else now. They're the highest quality launch provider in the world, but it's not 100%. So within this confidence, your payload will get to orbit, and it will be within this date range. Well, now they have agility. They've been honest about confidence. They've been honest about the date range. And they say, with this confidence, we will put you into orbit. And in this orbit that you need so you can operate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they have ranges, right? That's part of it. Then another aspect, when you buy a Tesla, that's a contract with any consumer and Tesla. And what Tesla says is, we will deliver the car to you within this date range. So again, they have a range. And they don't say it will be this exact car with these exact features. They say it will have at least this level of features, because they're always updating the cars. So it's not that you commit to get this car and we've got to figure out how to get this car to you. It's you get this or better. So the customer's protected, and Tesla has full incentive to keep ramping up to improve the product as fast as they possibly can. So you get this or better. That helps. Then supplier contracts. The length of your supplier contract is your minimum new product introduction cycle, or you could call it sprint length. If you have an 18-month contract with a supplier and you're going to get a batch of product in 18 months, you can't make a significant change within 18 months, or you have to scrap all that product, right? So when Tesla makes a contract with other companies, they're often 1 week or less turnarounds. And what's interesting is a lot of companies, including European companies, agree to those contracts and deliver. They can. They could the whole time, but people didn't ask them to do it. So it's fully possible. It happens multiple times a day, every day, all across Europe, all across the Americas, all across Asia. So an example of an agile contract is, look, we want to have comfort and safety. So let's make this contract 1 year long at a minimum, maybe 10 years long, maybe 40 years long. That's fine. But what we deliver will change as often as once a week. So we'll have a cycle length, a sprint length. We'll have a cycle length. Maybe it's a month, maybe it's a quarter, but shorter is better here. And we will agree within a band of time before that delivery, maybe a day, right, for a really agile delivery, what it is we're going to deliver to you. And then we will deliver that in a cycle. And at some point it becomes continuous release and there's no cycle. And that is the goal. So no cycle is the goal. Continuous release is the goal. But to start with, let's have a cycle. Let's say 1 week. We will then make one thing for you for 1 week, and then tell us the changes you want, and we'll implement those the next week. And every 1 week we'll implement changes. As long as those changes reach us with 48 hours notice from the start of that next cycle, we'll implement as many of those changes as we can. And you are agreeing to work with us as a supplier for a year or 10 years or 40 years. But what we supply to you is agile. We will change on these cycles and we will work to shorten those cycles. That means the supplier now has guaranteed income to invest in flexible manufacturing, to invest in automated tests so they can change what these products are with safety because the safety tests are automated. And so now we have safety to invest in each other, and we have flexibility in what is made. And that's the definition of an agile contract. We have an agreement that we're both comfortable with on length, but it's completely decoupled from what we're going to make. So what we're going to make can change as fast as we're capable. And testing for quality and safety is automated. And that's what that long lead contract money actually is used to invest in automated testing for safety and quality, to protect the consumer and to protect the people involved in production. So now you have automated safety and quality and flexibility and job security, and everybody has won. And we will make those and practice those in the Certified Scrum Product Owner course, if you chose to join it.
Okay. Would you say that it is the first thing that a company like Tesla or any company that would like to be more agile should look for as a partner is someone that can deliver very fast, but of course with quality, before checking prices and stuff like that?
Yes. And in fact, companies like Tesla, like SpaceX, they won't even talk to companies that have a longer release cycle. If you look at companies that are in the supply chain of a Musk company, they're all over the world. They're in Europe. They're everywhere. Bosch supplies parts to Tesla. These are companies that have proven they're fully capable of delivering on a very short time scale. And continuously for years without burning out, without saying, oh, it was too fast. So already we know it can happen. And yes, companies with a longer release cycle are not even considered, regardless of cost, because there's cost of delay and cost of delay to introduce an innovation. And that cost outweighs any unit cost, period. Because pace of innovation is the only thing that matters in the long run. That's a direct quotation from Elon Musk. So cost per unit is not even considered at all if it interrupts speed of change. Mirko Kleiner out of Switzerland has made a beautiful science out of this. The group around Mirko calls it lean agile procurement, and it's brilliant. I highly recommend people who are interested in vendors, contracts, and partners, really is what it really is. They're really partners, to collaborate with Mirko Kleiner and the lean agile procurement, the LAP movement. It's phenomenal. It's truly genius.
Is there anything that you would like to share with the audience?
In my experience working with French companies, the level of respect for people is, in my opinion, very high, very good. And the awareness of what makes comfort and human quality is very high. The speed, I think, has an opportunity. And what I wish for business all around the world to learn from business in France is how to improve in the human condition at a lovely level. I will call it luxury, the luxury of a human condition. And what I wish for business in France to learn from some of the rest of the world is how to not lose that, but increase the speed of new product development. And there's a subset of how business is working in France, I believe, that is luxurious. Luxurious work is truly how I feel about it. There's a subset of that luxurious work that is also very fast. And that, I believe, is the future of all work. And I believe is the gift from France to the world. Now, there's some aspects of luxurious work that are slow. And those parts will need to evolve, I think, truly will need to evolve. And some will need to disappear, some. But this makes the exciting future that has also the French business culture exist on Mars and beyond as these things grow and not stay only in France. And we can, I hope, learn to use these parts of the culture on the moon, on Mars, and in every culture in every country that's already on planet Earth, so it can expand. And this beautiful thing, if it's missed, if it's lost, it would be a tragedy. The understanding of human expression and the beauty of daily life that exists in France is different than I've observed anywhere else in the world. And I want to see this continue by being competitive in business. So please help me figure out how to make a manufacturing line designed by Hermès. Please help me figure out how to make a stockroom designed by Bulgari. And please help me find a way to do it that is cost similar to existing lines, because there's a subset of beautiful living that doesn't cost any more than any other way to live. Atoms cost the same, whether they're arranged beautifully or arranged horribly. Language uses almost the same energy to express, whether you're expressing beautifully or you're expressing horribly. So let's bring this lovely life into a very fast new product creation life. Because I don't want to see only fast, crude businesses win. And I don't want to see beauty and respect be reduced. And they don't have to. So this is the message that I would love for people to collaborate all across the world to make come more true. And thank you.
We will put a link also that for people who would like to contact you about business opportunities in France or somewhere else, of course.
Twitter is maybe the best, at Joe Justice. And I hope that means people can tag you both and your movements as well to create a group conversation. And I will say Google Translate is not bad. So any language is okay. And yeah, truly, the language that is most comfortable for you is fine. And we will use machine learning to help bring us closer together. Now, I do not yet have a translation of my book, Scrum Master, the Agile Training Seminar for Business Performance. I do not yet have a translation in French, and I would like this very much. So if you or anyone is willing to try the first 50 pages to make a preview copy in French, I would love this. Please let me know. I would be happy to send you a signed copy of the paper book in English. As a minimum, thank you for helping try to make the first 50 pages en français.
The message will be out, and thank you very much, Joe. It was really enlightful. It was very brilliant. I'm really happy to have this conversation with you.
For me, so much as well. Merci.
Pour retrouver tous les liens qu'on a pu citer pendant cette interview, mais aussi pour voir comment contacter Joe justement sur tous les projets qu'il a pu évoquer, ou pourquoi pas participer à la traduction en français du début de son livre. On vous donne rendez-vous sur scrumlife.tv/joejustice en tout attaché, vous y trouverez tous les liens. Cet échange était vraiment très enrichissant pour nous, ça nous a ouvert sur d'autres domaines de l'agilité qui ne sont pas ceux dont on a l'habitude. Justement, on en échange dans un live où on va vous dire qu'est-ce que nous, on en a retiré. Si par contre vous voulez en savoir plus sur l'agilité ou Scrum, eh bien consultez notre formation gratuite. N'oubliez pas le pouce vers le haut, de partager cette vidéo aussi à quelqu'un d'autre qui en tirerait de la valeur, et puis à vous abonner, à activer les notifications, car chaque semaine, on sort une nouvelle vidéo. Alors ne ratez pas les prochaines. Vous êtes mes plus grands fans ?